If you're not careful and accidentally teleport out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the back rooms. Here it is nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights, and maximum hum buzz, and about 800 million square miles of randomly connected, empty rooms where you are trapped. God save you if you hear something running around, wandering around, because by that point, it already knows you are there. From Urban Dictionary, on the back rooms. Paragraph by Thanos Wang, May 18th, 2019. If you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you already know what the back rooms are. You've already watched at least a few videos about liminal spaces, I hope. I think the one I would recommend the most is by Solar Sands. But if I'm not mistaken, Captain KRB had a good one. And if you're not familiar with liminal spaces, when you Google it, the basic definition that you get in architecture, liminal spaces are defined as the physical spaces between one destination and the next. Common examples of such spaces include hallways, airports, and streets. So on my small channel, I've done a few videos with liminal spaces. It's fun to go online and find pictures of places that are maybe abandoned, maybe desolate. Maybe they're still in business, like a dead mall. You can find barely any people and it looks like it hasn't been in a state of, or it has been in a state of constant repair. It has been in need of repair for years. Businesses that have been around for decades and still look like opening day. A lot of people said when Kmart and Sears started to close down that one of the reasons why nobody wanted to go to those places was because their interior designs were from another time. And yet many who were sad to see those places go enjoyed them for that reason. The neon that was still around in some of those places. A lot of Targets before they were remodeled, even as recently as the past couple of years. You know, the snack bars that you would go to as a kid. There's some kind of eerie nostalgia, I think, when you go somewhere and it reminds you of something from your childhood, and there's this weird, bittersweet feeling that's almost sacred, that you can't quite remember what it was like. You can only remember what you think it was like. And that's why I wanted to make this video. That and the idea of dreams. It seems like maybe every third liminal space video I come upon is this idea that these places are recognizable because you dreamt about them. Whether you dreamt about them because they're places you've been before and we remember things when we dream, or your dreams make up places from memories and create new places by kind of combining those memories. And sometimes you end up in places in your dreams that you don't ever remember being in, but you feel are very familiar. And that's what the building was for me when I first dreamt about it. And that's what it always has been ever since. I made a video about the building 5 or 6 months ago. It's had under 50 views, which a lot of my videos on this channel have, but some of the Liminal Space videos have been a little bit more popular. And that's something that I don't want to capitalize on as much as I want to try to find people who are interested in that thought experiment, exercise, whatever you want to call it. Dreams fascinate me because they've always been something that inspire me to write and to think, sometimes to believe in spiritual things. I'm a very spiritual person. But since I was a young teen, I've had these dreams every so often. And less as I get older about this building that never really seems to end. My very first dream about it, I walked into what was maybe the center of the building, or at least the center of kind of the entryway of the building, and you looked up and you could see level after level, row after row of different floors. And I remember that from then on, every time I dreamt about the building, I would have, one, a sense of being there before and knowing it was the same place, and two, I would every time kind of circle through, go through a lot of the same rooms again, and then go to new rooms. And every dream was a new room, and it never seemed to end, and there was escalators and large stairways, ramps leading to these different areas. I remember there was like a buffet where you could go and you could get food any time of the day. And I remember they had some kind of thing going for homeless people. Like there was a soup kitchen there, or like you could get meals for free, but there were also restaurants around there. I had dreams where I would be walking through there in the evening when no one was around, and there would be this idea that there would be people there, but I didn't really see people. Because you see, maybe it was because the building was this place in my mind, but for one reason or another, I had freedom to access any part of it when I wanted to. And so with that and the vastness of the building, there was this similarity I felt to it when I started watching Dan Bell's videos about dead malls. Because some of those dead malls kind of reminded me of locations in the building. And it began to make me think something that I hadn't really, never thought. Sorry about the double negative. But I've always been a fan of malls. When I was a kid, if we were going out as a family, a lot of the time we would go to the mall. I had 2 sisters and my mother. Of course, they all loved to go shopping. And there were places in the mall that I didn't dislike going to. Video game shops. And toy stores. KB Toys. Toys R Us sometimes in the malls. So I never disliked going to the mall, and eventually because of the look and the design and just the idea of such a large space, I really enjoyed it, and I have a lot of fond memories of malls. And so to a certain extent, I think the building kind of became an amalgam of these different malls that I had been to. And shopping centers and department stores and things like that. And so that really isn't a liminal space to an extent, but if you watch other videos that kind of examine liminal spaces, they're like Solar Sands video, or there's a guy that's his name is escaping me at the moment. I'll come back to it. But there is, a mention of dead malls, and a lot of liminal space pictures are of dead malls, abandoned malls. And so there is a similarity there. There is this idea of a transition, or a place that you've been before, but it's out of context. That's an often tapped idea with liminal spaces. It's abandoned, and it's no longer a place that people pass through. It's no longer a place that people go to. It doesn't serve the same purpose when a business like that is abandoned. And I guess there was always this weird sort of comfort with that, and maybe that's why I had those dreams. Oftentimes it was really comforting because the building was my own place, and I would have these dreams where I would be there and I could just walk around for what seemed like hours and consider my life and think. And very often there was nobody else around. And it made me think recently that the building kind of reminded me of the idea of the backrooms. I'd have to look up the video, but there's, I think maybe it's a Reddit account, maybe it's just its own site, but there's a Backrooms site and a few different videos about it that talk about these different levels of the Backrooms, and I think it's like level 4 that is like a mall. And when I heard about that level, I immediately thought about the building in those dreams that I still have from time to time. I tend to have 1 or 2 a year now. And for a little while it had been a couple years apart that I would have had one. But when I started, from about the time I was 15 to I think around 20, I would have a few, sometimes more than a few every year. And so I wonder if the fascination with liminal spaces, the idea of the backrooms, leaving reality, what's that term that it sometimes uses? I can't remember it. It stems from this want through our dreams to kind of connect to another world. Maybe it's the spiritual world, maybe it's just the world of our dreams. I've talked before about a movie called The Waking Life. This guy is dreaming and his dream never seems to end, and he keeps not really interacting at first, just watching these different people have these conversations that he swears he's never heard, people that he's never met, places that he's never been, and he's kind of connecting telepathically, psychically with these people, and then eventually he starts talking with them and having these conversations, and it's like he is connecting with people through dreams, through shared dreams. Like some kind of Inception sort of scenario, except, you know, maybe a lot weirder, like Paprika. If you haven't seen Paprika, Inception was kind of inspired by it, and it's an anime, and it's a lot weirder. Anyway, I'm going to try to not make this video too long. I think even though YouTube is trying to push longer videos, that was probably what made the initial video not the most desirable. Maybe it was kind of daunting. But until I come back with more thoughts on this, the YouTuber I was thinking about is Shooky. Shookey. And he's got a lot of liminal space videos and videos where he talks about popular liminal spaces, and yeah, I would definitely recommend him if you're into this kind of thing. Again, check out the Solar Sands video. And let me get... I've been saying Captain KRB, and I want to make sure it is KRB. And let's see. He does have a Liminal Spaces video. Yep. That's the one I was thinking of. So for your further reading assignments, check those out. And let me know in the comments if you've ever had recurring dreams, if you've had dreams that have inspired you to do one thing or another, if you've had dreams that were premonitions. Sometimes I feel like I've had those, but I don't know. It's like, is that what deja vu is? Yeah. Am I going too far off here, or do you think that liminal spaces and lucid dreams are kind of two separate things, or if the Backrooms was a real thing, would liminal dreaming be a way to enter or escape it? I don't know. It's a weird thought. What does it mean? I think in the end, the building has always been something that fascinated me for the same reason that dead malls fascinate me. Because there's remnants of a part of me that has passed, but still remains in some form. And whatever form remains, it gives me comfort.